All right. Hey guys. Thank you so much for coming. I think I set it up to mute everyone when they came in, but you are able, like later on when we do questions, you are able to unmute yourself. So that shouldn't be a problem. A couple of quick things as we get into it. It looks like we only have a couple of people on the Zoom, so that might be a little bit easier to manage. As we get into it, this is being live streamed into our Facebook group. I hope you can see it. If you are watching live, just say hi in the comments or whatever you want to do. That way it just kind of bumps up for people. Sometimes people look for it in the events, the actual event, and I'm not able, unfortunately, to live stream from here to the actual event, so it'll be on the main page. So if you're in the group, watching from the group, say hi, just put that in the comments. If you aren't here, hi. Real quick, let me go over just a tiny little housekeeping things. Number one, if you have questions, I want to hear them. I think yesterday it was a little bit drinking from the fire hose, and at the end, everyone was like, say what? So there were no questions. So if you have questions after this, I want to hear them. I want to help you answer them. You can go ahead and type them in the chat as I'm going throughout this, but I won't address them until they end, just because I haven't figured out how to cut myself in half yet. So we will address those all the way at the end. And anything else you want to say, if you want to ask out loud later, you can just take yourself off mute. But for now, just try to keep yourself on mute. All right, so let's go. Day 2 of automate and elevate, but I really want to say elevate and automate. I think that's a better roadmap to get there. Doesn't matter though, that's just me. Today we're going to talk about some simple automations you can implement today and kind of how to decide that. It really, I know sometimes people hear the word automation, it sounds very techy. I promise you, it's really not. Once you figure out, I remember hearing the word funnels, hearing everyone talk about funnels and being completely overwhelmed by it, just the concept, but it's really not that hard. I'm kind of going to not dumb it down for you, but I'm just going to show you how simple it can be for you to implement like one thing that works. So welcome back. If you were here yesterday, we talked a little about the opportunity. I probably went maybe a little too deep into it there, and some of that stuff could have been used today. So I'm learning as I go too. But yesterday I talked about the opportunity that automations provide you to kind of connect with your audience, nurture them, close them, and then kind of rinse and repeat, right? So that's what we talked about yesterday. Like, what can you do? What does it look like? And kind of why you should want to implement them. And if are you at the stage in your business where you should? I think new agents and experienced agents can all benefit from automation. But that's what we talked about yesterday. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the transformation that these automations provide, right? So how do we actually do the damn thing and implement what we're talking about? How do we make it easy? And how do we just get it done? All right, so number one, and I talked a little bit about this yesterday, but we want to start small, right? If you can start anywhere today, I don't want you to start and look at yesterday's training and see all the 50 different automation ideas you can implement and feel like, because when it seems like too much, you won't do anything, right? So we want to start small. You want to have one automation. And the benefits of that is that it's the ease of implementing one automation. It's the ease of managing one automation. And then it's very simple to scale. I promise you, once you know how to kind of implement one, especially platform by platform, it's going to be very, very, very easy, simple for you to kind of like copy and paste that concept to multiple areas of your marketing, right? So we want to start small. Just let's get one done. Some of the automations I like to suggest to people when they are looking to automate their business. We just let Sarah in. Hey, other Sarah. Some of the automations that I would recommend is, if you're going to start anywhere, I like to always start with lead gen, but to your SOI, right? Because those are the closest kind of people that are the closest to kind of dripping out of that funnel. That can be past clients and people you've already closed. It could be like people on your social media channels, all that. So I wouldn't start these automations with cold lead gen. I would start them with the people that are closest to kind of really dripping out of that funnel, and that would be people around you. And then you can do this with lead gen, so getting them from the platform deeper into your funnel. So getting them into your CRM, getting them into your email marketing software. And then you can do automated social posts. So this isn't as hands-off because it's not a one-time thing, but it can be a one-time a month thing when you're going at the beginning of every month, putting out all your social media posts, scheduling them, and now it's working for you instead of every day waking up and be like, oh my God, what am I going to post about today, right? So it really, really, really forces you to come up with content in that small amount of time, but also helps you to spend your time that you would spend doing that every day on your actual business. And then also client follow-up. So if you have a database full of people who have either become cold leads or who have closed maybe 6 months or more back, and you really want to find a way to reconnect with them and nurture, because just because you close someone doesn't mean they still shouldn't be nurtured, right? We want to squeeze out from them their friends, their family, their referrals, and their future business. So those are kind of the best places to start. When we talk about how to choose, so look at your own business, your own day, how you run things, and that'll help you decide kind of what is the first automation you want to implement, right? So number one, assess your pain point. What do you hate doing, right? So, or not hate, but what are the things that kind of like you don't want to do? Those are the actual things that you should implement first. So for example, for me, I hate constant follow-up, right? It makes me uncomfortable, and I feel like I'm kind of like always on call, because you think of all these people that kind of made their way to contacting you, and now you're like, oh my God, now you always think about it at 9:30 at night. Oh my gosh, I have to remember to follow up with them in the morning. So for me specifically, that's the area of my business that I don't like to do every day, right? So you want to assess your pain point and see, is that pain point something that can be automated, right? And then just like I'm saying, you want to align that automation with what is your challenge in the business. So let's say if you are killing it at following up with leads, you're killing it at nurturing them, and you get to the closing table, and then your pain point or the challenge that you have in your business is now keeping in touch with them post-close, then you want to align your automation with that, right? How can we automate that nurturing sequence after they close, right? Because we don't want to lose that business forever. And then also you want to estimate the return on investment or your time saved, right? So, if you're spending 2 minutes a day doing your social media, is it worth you spending an 8-hour day in the beginning of the month automating it? Probably not, right? So you want to really estimate, is it going to be worth it for you? 99% of the time it is, right? Because no one spends 2 minutes a day on their social media, or at least thinking. You may spend 2 minutes posting. You don't spend 2 minutes thinking about it. So just make sure that it's going to be a great use of, setting it up and then going. You want to make sure that that's going to be worth the time you're going to save, right? Or else you're kind of spinning your wheels. So really very quickly, don't get too hung up on this, but you can write down to help you kind of figure out what the automation should look like, what steps are on the automation. You can write down the steps to a workflow for a particular task or follow-up sequence, or the roadmap that lead or that prospect would be on. So for example, your seller, right there, let's say if you are about to close them, now the workflow would be, you get the clear to close, you send out a request for their referral, you send them a congratulations email. The next week you have an email that says, hey, is everything going okay in the house? The next month, or the week after that, you say, hey, do you know anybody else that wants to buy in this area or with this loan program that you use or whatever? And then you go, that keeps on going. So kind of write down what are the steps to either a workflow you already have in place or you're already doing, or what you would like the workflow to look like. Collect what you need. So if what you need is, the links to your Google review page, if what you need is maybe if you want to give them a little social media post to share with their friends, whatever it is, collect those items that are part of that workflow and then put it in there. This is the best part. The best way to do this is you can create these items and use AI to help you through this. So everyone knows I'm a big ChatGPT girl. There are a bunch of different types of AI you can use. But if you want to write a follow-up sequence for sellers, go into ChatGPT and ask it to help you with that, right? You can give it a prompt that says, hey, I want to follow up with sellers, and I gave a little sample of this yesterday, but I want to follow up with people who have sold their house and allow me to represent them in the past. Well, I want a sequence that's going to help me to follow up with them for the next 6 months, and ask it to help you write out that sequence, tell it what parts you want, and it will really help you do that job quickly. And then set it up and publish it, right? So I'm going to talk about a quick open house follow-up sequence. I'm going to show you kind of the steps. But one thing I really want to drive home with things like this is you want to make the most of every opportunity. And I talked about this yesterday, but when you have a seller or a listing, you should, and you guys have heard this before if you've been in real estate, but every listing should lead to like a few more listings, right? So every seller should have this comprehensive sequence in place to help you maximize that lead. So instead of getting a $15,000 commission on the house, you are turning that seller into 3 or 4 more deals over the course of the year. And now that 15,000 becomes, you know, 75,000, right? So that's how you want to look at automations. How can I maximize my impact or my opportunity with every single transaction or every single person I meet, etc. So let me go through what an example open house follow-up sequence would be. So this is going to be an email follow-up sequence. I touched on this a little bit yesterday. So what it will look like is, here's an email. The subject line in general can say, thank you for visiting. That's kind of going to be the concept. You should change these to make it look like or sound like you. The subject line can be, thank you for joining us at whatever address. And the purpose of this email would be to thank them for coming, to reiterate kind of like the value of the property or what are the features of the property, any loan programs that are available, etc. And then to offer any, you know, like the hot sheets or maybe what you think would make a good deal or how to get in touch with you, whatever is valuable in getting that property sold and allowing you to represent that person and giving them all the information that maybe you couldn't give them in person. So I'm not going to go off on a tangent here, but in those, I really love if you would embed a video into there. It just kind of helps them see you, hear your voice, and it really boosts that principle of reciprocity. So when they see that you took the time out of your day to give them like almost a personalized video, which it doesn't have to say their name. It could just say, hey, thanks so much for coming to my open house. I've included some more details below. If you need anything else or have any questions about this house or any similar houses, get in touch with me. I would love to chat, right? So all those things can go into the first one. A couple of days, as SpongeBob would say, 2 days later, so you can set up a second one, right? And so this, the time difference is gonna, you know, you decide how long you want to wait. I suggest no more than 48 hours on this. So the topic of this one is going to be addressing common questions. You can have the subject line talking about your questions, answer any questions that came up about this house, add the things that are important that maybe aren't on Zillow, right? You really want to focus on providing them information they can't find, or they can't easily find on Zillow. Put all that in there. You can also have a little area there that talks about, hey, if you like this house, but maybe it didn't quite meet your need, here are a few others. And then lastly, your third email would be like the you know, topic of it would be your next step, or this is your last chance. And then you can say, hey, don't miss out on this. You want to create that kind of principle of urgency, outline any steps that they need to take action on this house. Or what I like the best is offering similar homes that are for sale, offering them to see those. And that's because usually by email 3, if they haven't made an offer on the house, they're most likely not going to make an offer on that specific house. So give them homes that are similar. You can do this through dynamic links that you can set up right before the open house, and they are going to constantly update. So by email 3, even if that house has sold or a few houses similar have sold, they're going to see the most recent similar homes that are for sale. From here, they don't fall off your nurture list. They just move into like your regular newsletter sequence or some kind of buyer follow-up sequence, whatever. But this is just a pinpointed, personalized type nurture sequence that's really, really valuable when you want to make the most of every single person you met at that open house. So tools we can use is, I personally prefer email marketing. I think every single agent needs to have an email list. This is aside from your CRM. You need to be sending out newsletters. There's just so much power that your email system can give you as far as analytics, testing AB headlines, being a little bit more creative and all that stuff. So you can use platforms like MailerLite is a very simple email platform. It allows, that's actually one of the only ones that allows you to send out automations under its free plan. I think you're allowed to do 1 or 2 automations, but great place to start under its free plan. You don't necessarily have to worry about pretty emails, right? Actually, the best performing emails are just plain text emails. So that's one of them that you can use. Flodesk is what I use. I just think it's a little bit more robust for what I need it for. And there's no cap on how many contacts I can have in there for the same price. I pay, my first year, I paid half price. So it was like $19 a month for a year. And if you're interested in that, I can give you my affiliate link to get the same deal. And then after that's $38 a month, but to me, it's extremely robust. You have unlimited automations you can set up in there. And I'm gonna give you an example of one. And then MailChimp is another. I believe the package they have, the lowest package they have to build automations is $20 a month. But there is a very generous amount of automations you can set up in there as well. If you don't want to mess with email marketing, you can use your CRM, and I'm going to show you a little bit, but KVCore, Chime, Follow Up, they all have this ability built into them at some level. To me, it's not as good as what you would get in an email marketing system, but if you're really killing it already on your CRM, then go ahead and do it there. So a lot of them have sequences or automations already built in. If that is the case, fine, but you want to make it very personalized and you kind of want to be very hands-on with your personality and making sure you're not using exactly what they already have. You're making it sound like you. If we're talking about free but more difficult, if you use a G Suite, if you have a G Suite email or Google Business or whatever they're calling it these days, if you have that, you can go ahead, let's say before an open house, put all that stuff in, set it up kind of in your drafts, whatever emails you got from the open house, you can add them to the email BCC, because you don't want to have 20 people all responding to each other. And through there, you can still embed some videos into the G Suite emails, and then you can schedule them. So you won't be able to say, hey, 2 days after they open this, schedule this one, but you can say, hey, send this one April 25th, send this one April 27th, and send this one April 29th. Again, it's not my highest recommendation, but you have to do what's easiest for you. If you know and are familiar with your G Suite email and you're just looking for a free one just to get started, then go ahead and you can do that. So here's a little bit what it looks like. On the left, you're going to see what a Flodesk automation, or in Flodesk, they call them workflows, right? So I know it's a little bit small, but on the top, you're going to see that there is a segment. So the thing in the green is a segment of people. So this is for my marketing company, but when people get added to this segment, for me, it's Chat GPT purchase. They purchase a Chat GPT bundle. As soon as they buy, they are added to that segment. So if you have people that are visiting an open house, you will have that segment set up. As soon as you add them, it's going to ask you what segment do you want to add these to. You tag them with the open house, and now the workflow is triggered, right? So it says at the top, ChatGPT bundle buyer delivery begins when. So for you, it would say open house delivery begins when. Then it would, your segment would probably be open house. From there, you see that line is kind of the trajectory of the workflow. So for me, they get an initial email that welcomes them, thanks them for purchasing. In your case, thanks them for attending. They have a link. I can put a video in there if you want. That's the initial email they get within 2 minutes of being added to that segment. And they're added to that segment right away. Then I have set up a 2-day delay. Then from there, they're getting their next email and so on and so forth, right? So that is an example of an automation that can be done in an email system. On the right side, you have one that can be set up in a CRM. So for example, I'm showing you KVCore. So it's saying it has emails. This is for a buyer one. So it has checking in, sphere check-in, it's sending that monthly market report, that's via text. It has you asking for referrals, remodeling interest, all that down the line. And you'll see that instead of the time delays, they're just set up from whatever day they were added to the CRM or tagged as a certain person in that CRM in a certain segment. So somewhat similar. This is a lot more, and I personally don't like doing much in KVCore, but if you're familiar with it, you can do that. These are set every, for more than a year out. These things are set up. And like we talked about yesterday, tips and best practices, very similar. Infuse your personality, not only in the text, but in any videos you do, or, if you have a automation that is going to trigger a system to send out gifts, make sure that these cards are your personality, etc. Use video as much as you can, start small and scale. So if you want to implement that one open house automation today, you can, but even if it's not open house, now you have the roadmap for those 3 emails, how to do them, and you can go today and set that up. Regularly review these automations. So if you see you're getting really great open rates on these, awesome. If you see you're getting great engagement for them or responses, awesome. If you see after, I wouldn't really evaluate and make any changes for 90 days, but if you go 90 days in and you're like, this isn't doing anything, then it's time to test and see kind of how you can improve that. Infuse personality, that's how much I think about it. Use AI. And then you can also, if you are at the stage in your business, like you really don't have the time to set these up, you can utilize an assistant to do this for you and kind of set that thing up for you. And that's it. We're going to go through any questions. We didn't have any yesterday, but if there are, we're going to go through them in a second. But tomorrow we're talking about what kind of it looks like when you have the automations and what it looks like to be able to scale and have uninterrupted growth. So tomorrow we're kind of going to like own the system, go over everything, see what it looks like, and really find out how to operate at that level. So that is it. Let me see if there are any questions. Let me stop my share. I will get in here. So there's only a couple of people in here. If you ladies have any questions, then go ahead and ask. No pressure. Let's see in the group. Okay. Let's see, we got a little bit. Okay, so Lachey. Oh, hey Lachey. Okay, so Lachey is asking a question in the Facebook group. Lachey, so the price of automations can be free, or it can be dependent on what system that you're using, right? So if you are using a free email marketing software, a lot of the free ones don't have the automation built into the free aspect of it. But for example, the one I use, Flodesk, after the first year, it's $38 a month. I think MailChimp is $20 a month. So there are a few other ones. Follow-up boss, like CRMs, if they're not included with your brokerage agreement, follow-up boss can be, I think it's like $150 a month or whatever. So start wherever you can. Tomorrow, come back, Lachey, because I do have like a system that I'll be introducing that'll help you kind of do all of that and teach you how to do step by step how to do all that. So I'll talk about that more tomorrow. But yeah, it can be anywhere from free to $150 a month. I would say start at the lowest cost possible and then scale up from there. The thing that you should remember with this is, I know that agents don't want to be kind of nickel and dimed all over the place, but if $38 a month, let's say, helps you save, you gotta think in terms of your time. So if it helps you save so much time, or I should say, and it helps you close an extra 2 or 3, 4 deals a year, then, you know, easy money, right? And that's the way I want you to think about this. These are an investment into your time and your business because they allow you to scale much faster, to nurture people much faster, which allows you to close deals much more often. All right, so that is that. If you have like a specific question about a certain software, I'll let you know what the price is on those. Let me just double check that there is nothing else. Okay, and then yes, I'll get to Lachey and then I'll get to Kristen. Lachey, one more. So who will be running it, or is it automated? So these are, you go in once and set them up, and then yes, they are automated for you. So as soon as you do that, it is manual work to go in and set these up. But the point is that once they're set up, they're automated. And yesterday I spoke about how we're getting into this time of year, fall, winter, where things get a little bit slower. We have the holidays coming up. So the reason I did this training now is so you can take these fall months where everything's like a tiny bit slower, take the time to set these up, whether it be 1 or 5 automations, set them up. That way, when you get to the holidays, you're a little bit busier. You have people still being nurtured, and you don't have to wake up on Thanksgiving and feel like you gotta, you know, get to everybody. And then also when we get into the early winter, spring market, now you know that all these people, you didn't miss the connection with them. You didn't miss 6 months with them. You were able to keep up with them. And now you have, your pipeline is much more robust. And then Kristen asked, okay, Kristen, yes, I will send you yesterday's presentation. I'll tag you in it. I also sent out an email, so I'll send you both. But when you talk about cards, I love sending cards too. So I use AMCards. Their site is a little bit, let me get these people in here. AMCards, their site is a little bit like, it's not very pretty or whatever, but I like them the best. You can send out, I send out cards. I can send out, one thing that people love randomly is like 2 little brownies in a gift box. It's so random, you know, you're not sending those to everyone, but yeah, it kind of like automates them. You may have to go in and you can add people to kind of like their version of a gift funnel where it sends cards, it sends a gift on their birthday and all that. But yeah, that's who I use, AMCards. There's a lot of different ones, but I just found them to be the easiest, and the guy that runs it, their customer service is really good. So that is that. Let me make sure. Hey, Megan. Let me just make sure nobody else. Okay. Oh, thank you, Katrina. Yes, I'll tag her too. And then you should, if you signed up using the link, you should be getting the replays every day. I didn't want to bother the rest of my email list, but what I'll do is tomorrow I'll send everyone all 3 replays too, in case you want to do it. And after today, if you kind of go throughout your day and you think of something you want to ask, that's fine. Either respond to any of my emails I send you, or just go under the video in the group, or just post wherever your question, and I will definitely make sure to come back and answer it. So does anyone on the Zoom have a question, or you guys are all good? A little overwhelmed. Okay, cool. All right. Thank you again for taking 30 minutes of your time with me. I super appreciate it. And I will see you guys later on. Have a good day. And I'll see you tomorrow at 12. Bye, guys.